Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and show you how to wrap hands today. There's several different ways to wrap hands. It really actually gets pretty intricate. Every fighter has their own problems, wrist problems, knuckle problems, thumb problems. Every trainer has their own style. There's going to be a lot of different ways. If you run across 10 different trainers, they're probably going to show you about 50 to 60 different ways to wrap your hands. There's so many different ways. And every single fighter usually has their own style they kind of like also. One of the reasons I actually choose to use the Mexican style hand wrap, there's a little bit more elasticity in the hand wrap. It's a little bit more flexible. I also choose the 180-inch long, a little bit longer, and you can actually do a little bit more with it. So we'll go ahead and get started real quick here today. Pretty simple. Usually your hand wrap's going to come like this, all kind of pre-packaged already like that. I just go ahead and take mine, obviously just unroll it all the way. Let it fall down to the floor. Try to make sure it's as straight as possible. A lot of times hand wraps here are labeled this side down, either here or here. That doesn't really matter overall. I can show you how to go ahead and kind of change it up at the very end, but if it does this, say this side down, we'll go ahead and start with that side down. I like to start off like this. For example, here with a thumb up going across the back. That way if I put it here like that, when I actually tighten my hand, it actually makes the wrap a little bit tighter. When I loosen it, it actually makes it a little bit looser. If I actually do it the other way, it's kind of weird. I can make this thing absolutely as tight as possible, but when I flex my hand, look, it's totally loose. That's really not the way you want to start off wrapping your hand. Not right here on the downside, because right there it's all loose. I have this thing just tight, 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 and it's still loose. So that's actually kind of a bad way. You want to actually do it the reverse way. So we start back off like this, kind of going across the back side of the hand. Since I don't have a whole lot of wrist trouble, I just don't pay too terrible much attention to the wrist. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the knuckles. So right off the bat, we start off hands really wide. If my hands aren't really wide when I wrap my hands like this and I wrap them real tight, my hand's just going to fall asleep. Start off the entire time. It's going to be a little uncomfortable, but your hand flexed all the way wide, just like that, right? So I go across the wrist here, like that. And then I'm going to go right immediately to the knuckles. Go across the knuckles a couple times. And then I go to the thumb. Around the thumb here, then over the top, and then on the other side. Then from right here, that's where I start getting into the knuckles. So I kind of go ahead and get a little bit of play here. This is where I actually make a pad. Since when I punch, I have a hard time with my knuckles as opposed to my wrist. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take this here, pinch it off, and make a little bit of a pad, just like this. So I go anywhere from 3 to 4 times, and then we cover right over the top of it. It's a little tricky. Sometimes it'll kind of fall apart, but you know, with trial and error, you'll get the hang of it. And once I kind of secure that pad, I'm going to go right across the back and lock it in nice and tight through the fingers here. I a lot of times don't like to go through the middle finger, because the middle finger, if you look at the arc right here of the hand, is the highest. So if you put something right through the middle, it has a tendency to pull even harder than on the sides. So I usually go ahead and go right across the very far here by the pinky, as well as in here by the index. And then we're really close to being done. Right now it's still a pretty tight looking wrap, but we're going to go ahead and finish it up by kind of cleaning it up right here like this, making it look nice. Right across the knuckles again, a little bit behind, and then finishing off by actually going up the wrist a little bit. Now here actually you see I actually ended up backwards. So simple. There's 2 ways. One of the reasons I did this is just to show you. It's not like you obviously have to start your wrap all the way over. That's pretty ridiculous to do something like that. There's 2 ways. You just twist it and go around like this, or some people, if they want to, you can just fold it and go around like this the other way. So two different ways. I actually like to go ahead and twist it, because from right here, when you twist it, you can actually still make it a little bit tighter, just like that. Still looks nice here. So you kind of look at the wrap overall. This is a wrap, a little bit more form fit for people that have knuckle trouble. See right here, I got about a good 3/4 of an inch right here of knuckle padding. The wrist is still supported, the thumb is still supported, but on this particular wrap, I actually isolated the knuckles. Right here like that. One of the last things I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about is just kind of storage of hand wraps. So one little small pet peeve of mine, I dealt with fighters for the last 20 years, and you know, when you deal with fighters for a long time, the hygiene isn't really always the greatest. bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds that don't have a tendency to wash their clothes and their hand wraps very often. One thing that will help you guys with when you're storing your hand wraps, let's say for example, I just got done working out, really sweaty, my hand wraps are literally soaking wet. I see a lot of people actually go ahead and try to kind of halfway do the right thing and ball them up like this when they're soaking wet. So let's say I just worked out, I try to kind of do the right thing, I put my hand wraps together right here like that, it's soaking wet. All this is going to be is a cesspool for bacteria. Just tons and tons of bacteria, and it's going to be nasty. If you don't use it for a day or two, it's just going to be mildewy, just disgusting. And you use it again, it's going to get worse. You're going to spread ringworm, all kinds of junk. So when a hand wrap's fully clean, you know, I like to store it like this when it's clean and dry. But when you take it off and I'm done, let's say I got done working out, I'm totally sweaty, the hand wraps are totally sweaty. One of the best ways to store your hand wrap in your bag, kind of a loose bag, would just be like this. Right when you're finished, instead of rolling it up in a ball like this, man, don't do that when it's sweaty, it's nasty, it's disgusting. Kind of just like the good old construction worker stuff here with the, you know, the long cord. Do it like that. Now it's nice and loose. You can even fold it over a little bit more. Here like that, nice and loose. It can kind of air out a little bit in your bag as opposed to this. So this is going to be a lot better bet. You can kind of lay it in your bag gently. It'll air out like that as opposed to this. This will keep your hand wrap, you know, 2 or 3 times before you have to wash it as opposed to once. This is disgusting. This is all right.